Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Farrah, and today's video is going to be a reading vlog of the book Carrie by Stephen King. And this is a little project I'm doing on my channel where I wanted to try to do a vlog for every Stephen King book I read. We'll see how far I get with it. I've only read one so far, and that was his short story collection called Nightmares and Dreamscapes, and that took me over a year to finish that book. So I don't know if this will be something that I really end up doing as a project on my channel or if I give up a little early, but depending on how I really do end up liking this author. But as of now, starting now, I want to try to read his books in publication order. So the first one that I have to read is Carrie. And this one's pretty short, so hopefully it won't take me too long to get through it. And yeah, I haven't seen the movie, I don't think. I mean, I generally know what the story's about. I think most of us do. It's about a telekinetic teenager that goes through some intense, crazy bullying, and it's a story of revenge in some ways. So I have started it. I can't tell you exactly where I am, but the main thing, the action starts right away in the book. And one thing I have to say is Stephen King is really good at grossing you out. So right away, the beginning scene, he's very good at using descriptions to paint a picture of what's going on. So, it's interesting because he really makes this poor girl sound disgusting, but yet he's not really trying to make us feel too sorry for her yet. So it's interesting. We'll see how this goes. I think it was written in the 70s, so I'm looking out for little indications of it being of its time in terms of the environment, no cell phones, things like that. But overall, I am enjoying the writing. Yeah, it's not too bad. I think I'm probably going to enjoy it. I do love a good revenge story, I'm not going to lie. And yeah, like I said, I mean, I know what happens in the end, but it's going to be interesting to see how we get to that point. I also like how it has a mixed media aspect to it, so we're getting some flashbacks. We know the way he's writing, which I think he does a good job of, is we know that something horrible is going to happen, and we're kind of looking back. So we're getting these different news articles or journal entries that are kind of alluding to what's going to happen. So I do really enjoy that type of storytelling. So that's just, where I am now, and we're starting to get a sense of what she's capable of, or, we're starting to get inside her mind a little bit as opposed to just what people are observing of her, which is what we got in the beginning. So, yeah. I don't have huge high hopes for this. I have heard mixed reviews about this book in terms of it being not that great, but it is his first book, and he is such a prolific and talented writer, so it's nice to kind of see where he started. Yeah, so I'll check in once I've read a little bit more in the vlog. Okay, well, I'm in the car waiting for one of my children to get done with their soccer practice, but I wanted to check in with Carrie. Carrie's going really well. We're getting some flashes into the future with different newspaper articles or reports about what happened, what Carrie did, and what she did to this school, maybe the town. I don't know. Some of it's a little vague. The bullying, of course, is always hard to read about. There's a gym teacher that I really like, though, that's kind of stood up for her, and there's a great scene. I mean, I am going to get into spoilers because I think, so many people have read this. You're probably not watching this if you haven't read it, but I love how the principal fought back with the bratty kid's father, who was a lawyer. That was a great scene. I really enjoyed that. And it's fun to kind of see Carrie's telekinetic powers develop and how they've developed, and the flashing back to the past to see what she did when she was little. And the Christian mother psychopath is just, she's intense, and it's good. Yeah, so I found that when we first meet Carrie, we're seeing her exactly how her classmates see her, but now we're diving in and we're seeing her how she really is and how she sees herself. So I like that contrast, how she starts out kind of like, gosh, what's wrong with her? But then you see, this is how she is. This is how she became the way she is. So that's interesting how he did that. You switch gears with her for sure. I think you build compassion for her, and you see there is a very intelligent person inside of there, and someone who's been really abused for a long time. And some of the powers that Stephen King has given her, or the actions, I should say, that she's taken in these moments of huge stress are very interesting. So yeah, the book's going well. I do like, our main antagonist, of course, is this bitchy girl, Christine, and then her kind of psychotic boyfriend, Billy, I think his name is. So we see that aspect of it, and yeah, you just know something bad's gonna happen. But I do like the other side character, Sue, the more compassionate friend. So that's that. I'll check in again when I get towards the end and just share my thoughts. All right, guys, I just finished this. It was really good. It was really, really good. I really enjoyed it. And yeah, it was great. This book was really great. The ending, I love how he unraveled the final scenes where he would flash back to Sue's recollection and the articles that came out about the destruction that happened. At the same time, it's like flipping back to what's happening now, and you see Carrie and you see what she's going through, and you see how her powers are starting to affect her, and just the mass destruction that she's capable of doing. I had no idea. And you know, there's something satisfying in a way of her getting her revenge, even though there were some people that I felt bad about what happened to them. But it just shows you, don't mess with people, because you never know. They may have telekinetic powers and they may come back and get you good. But anyway, I really enjoyed the book. I like how he used the blood as a theme throughout the book, you know, starting in the very first opening chapter, of course, with what happens to her, and then throughout learning about how, you know, her mother attributes even things, natural body things like menstruation, as such a sinful thing, and then, you know, the pig's blood, and then the blood of the aftermath, and her heart, you know, beating towards the end, and everything was a very interesting way to use that throughout the book. So I really enjoyed it. I'm going to do one more quick clip of my final thoughts, but I did very much enjoy my time with this book, and I'm glad I read it. Alrighty, well, I finished it, as you just saw, and I'm just going to film quickly my wrap-up and what I thought, maybe a few spoilers in here. I was surprised by how much I really like this book. This was one of those books, though, that I started it, and then I stopped it, and I read something else, and then I picked it back up again, and then I stopped it, and I read something else. So unfortunately, I, you know, lost steam a bit, you know, on and off. But once I got into it and I committed, probably around the halfway point where it's like, okay, I'm just going to read this, I'm going to finish it. I got really into it, and I really enjoyed it. And I don't know why I'm surprised. I think going into this book, I think I had heard somebody say that it wasn't very good, or they didn't like it very much. And so I guess I kind of had that in the back of my mind, like, you know, it's his first book, probably not going to be the best. But I really liked it. Yeah, I enjoyed my time with it quite a bit. I liked seeing Carrie, how she changed throughout the book, and like, you know, just how he showed her powers, how he told the story, I guess. I did like the format of the storytelling, because he keeps flashing forward, and I've seen him do that in a few of his short stories from Nightmares and Dreamscapes, and I do like that style, that foreshadowing, knowing like, oh, something horrible is going to happen, and not knowing what she does was fun. I didn't realize it was to the extent of what it was, you know, how she really got into her revenge. I would say if I had one criticism, it would be that, and this is going to be a spoiler for anyone that hasn't read it. I'll put a timestamp when I'm done talking about spoilers, but you know, in the beginning, she seems just really aloof, like she doesn't know what's going on, like she's lived under a rock her whole life. Then towards the middle, she starts to seem like she's a normal teenager, you know, wanting to go to the prom and getting excited about this boy asking her and making her own dress. And especially when he goes to pick her up, she just seems very normal and fine, and kind of like that she's gotten past all this trauma that her mother has put her through. And then, you know, the final straw, the straw that breaks the camel's back, you know, she just loses it. She loses it, and she goes on a killing spree, rampage with her powers, which her powers are so cool. But anyway, I just felt like she snapped really quickly, and maybe there wasn't enough for me. I mean, the book's not that long, of course, and you know, I'm not being that picky about it, but I'm just thinking like, oh, well, how did she get from here to here? But I guess, you know, all that abuse, the crazy mother, the mother was over the top, just insane. And you know, it's a story, you really are rooting for her, though. I was really rooting for her. I wanted her to be okay. I wanted her to have fun at the prom. And I didn't mind that she had this revenge on these kids, although many of them were innocent. I'm glad that her friend Sue got away. to tell the story. And, you know, you just really, it's sad at the end of her life. So yeah, I didn't realize she dies at the end. She does. Sorry again if I didn't want to know any spoilers, but you know, it's a tragic story, but it was very entertaining. It was fun. I'm really glad I finally read it. I could finally say I read one Stephen King book. The next one I'm going to be doing for my Stephen King reading project is going to be Salem's Lot. And I guess I'm going to try to do these for the rest of the time in publication order. You know, if there's one that comes up that is really disturbing or violent or not my cup of tea, I'll probably skip it. But I think this one's about vampires, so I think I will like this. And I got this wonderful copy from a Booktube giveaway, the one and only one I've ever won. And this was hosted by Groz from the GKBC. So I still have it, Groz. Thank you again for sending this to me. I really appreciate it. And it's a lovely illustrated edition. So I'm looking forward to this. I'm not sure quite yet when I'm going to start it, but if you've read Salem's Lot, let me know, please, what you thought of it. And if you've read Carrie, I would love to know your thoughts, if you liked it or you didn't like it. I think a lot of you have read it before, but yeah, those are my final thoughts. I hope you enjoyed this PC vlog. I'm trying to remember when I started this book. I'm filming the wrap-up in October, even though I finished it a couple weeks ago. So there you go. I'm very slow with Booktube, but here, that's it. You know, that's the reality. So anyway, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in my next vlog. Take care.